Hey everybody, Haydog here, welcome back to another reaction video. This time, we're doing the Napoleonic Wars, Battle for Germany, 1813. Let's do this. What a career Napoleon has ruined. Having gained so much glory, he could bestow peace on Europe, but he has not done so. The spell is broken. Alexander of Russia, Emperor.
1812 had
Yeah,
been
everything
a
got
disastrous
fucked.
year for Napoleon.
Yeah, he got fucked
His
up.
invasion of Russia had led to the almost total destruction of an army of 500,000 men. Now Poland and Germany were wide open to Russian attack.
Yeah.
Some advised Emperor Alexander that this was the time to make a favourable peace with Napoleon.
Nah, screw that.
Russia's own armies had been mauled.
Oh yeah,
Western
you're right.
Russia devastated. But Alexander was determined to see Napoleon defeated for good, to
Bring
free
him
Europe
down.
from his clutches, and avenge Moscow's destruction by taking Paris.
Taking Paris, yeah.
Napoleon's allies were deserting him.
We're out.
Russian troops had already agreed a truce with the Russians. Schwarzenberg's corps marched back to Austria, which assumed a policy of watchful neutrality. Napoleon had left Marshal Murat in charge of the remnants of the army, but he left for the Kingdom of Naples, hoping to cut a deal with the Allies that would let him keep his throne.
Nice. Bro was going behind Napoleon's back being like, so, I'm still king, right, of this place? Can I, just saying.
He was replaced by Napoleon's stepson, Eugene, who'd proved himself a brave and able soldier in Russia, but was unused to independent command, and now faced odds of 4 to 1.
Kutuzov's coming.
As
Let's
Russian
kill ya.
forces advanced through Poland, he continued to retreat west, leaving garrisons to hold strategic fortresses, most of which were soon besieged.
Probably not a good idea.
On the 7th of February,
know.
Russian troops entered Warsaw unopposed.
Wow.
Napoleon's Polish client state, the Duchy of Warsaw,
Gone.
effectively ceased to exist. 3 weeks later, Russian troops entered Berlin, while Sweden joined the Allies.
Ooh. Bernadotte. Right?
Sweden was ruled by Napoleon's former Marshal Bernadotte, now officially known as Crown Prince Karl Johan. Many would accuse him of betraying Napoleon, but he'd always been clear that once he became Sweden's Crown Prince, he'd pursue Swedish interests, which is what he now claimed to do.
Makes sense.
In exchange for Norway, to be taken from France's ally Denmark, and £1 million from Britain.
The money.
Bernadotte agreed to join what was now the 6th coalition against France since the Revolution, with an army of 30,000 troops. 10 days later, King Frederick William of Prussia declared war on France.
There we go.
It followed weeks of indecision.
Yes, Germany.
The king was widely seen as a weak character and terrified of Napoleon. But with guarantees of Russian military support, the return of lost territory, and enormous financial and material aid from Britain,
Money!
he agreed to field an army of 80,000 men.
Yeah, if money's involved, there you go.
On the 17th of March, he issued a proclamation to the people of Prussia and Germany, "An mein Volk," to my people, summoning them to fight for Prussia and Germany's honor, in what would soon be known as the German War of Liberation. The Prussian army had been greatly reformed since its humiliating defeat to Napoleon in 1806.
Prussia's getting stronger.
A military commission headed by General von Scharnhorst had sacked nearly 200 old generals and abolished flogging, expanded recruitment, and introduced exams for officers.
I kind of like how you can kind of see on the designs and like they kind of almost look very I would say Imperial Germany at this time, very close to it, and they kind of kept that uniform for quite a while, Germany did. You know, until the end of World War II, and then we kind of changed styles.
And overhauled training, tactics, and drill.
This is a gun.
Met the new Prussian army in battle 2 months later. He remarked, "These animals have learned something." Small consolation, they'd learned most of it from him.
From him, yeah. Only a short time ago, I was the conqueror of the world, commanding the largest and finest army of modern times. That's all gone now. I mean, yeah, you kind of killed them, so I mean, is it really...
As his enemies massed in Germany,
I don't know.
Napoleon was in Paris, working tirelessly to build a new army with which to face them.
Great.
137,000 new conscripts joined the army.
God.
And laws passed to call up 100,000 more.
Damn.
While 40,000 veterans from the army in Spain, 16,000 Marines, and 80,000 men of the National Guard, a home defense force, were transferred to Germany.
Everyone's going.
The new conscripts were nicknamed Marie-Louises, after Napoleon's young wife, who passed the new conscription laws in his absence.
Oh.
They were young and raw. 2/3 were teenagers.
Oh.
And there was a severe lack of experienced officers and NCOs.
Those poor kids, man.
In short, the countless irreplaceable veterans, now lying beneath Russian soil.
Yeah. I just can't imagine being 17 years old and then just like being like, yep, you're going to carry this gun, carry all this shit, go out there and die for your country. It's like, not even for your country, die for this guy, you know, that you've probably met none times and literally seen and read about. Like, that is crazy. That's crazy, man. Oh my god.
There was also a critical shortage of cavalry. A crisis mocked by British satirists.
All the horses are dead.
It would take Napoleon longer to replace the many thousands of horses and trained horsemen who'd perished in Russia.
Jeez.
When Napoleon left Paris for Germany in mid-April, the French situation was precarious. Eugene had been forced back behind the river Elbe to the fortified city of Magdeburg. Dresden, the capital of Saxony, had fallen to the Prussians. The Duchy of Mecklenburg-Schwerin became the first German state to defect from Napoleon's Confederation of the Rhine.
Oh, that's right.
Russian Cossacks raided as far as Hamburg, inspiring local revolts against French occupying forces.
That's smart.
Meanwhile, Austria stood on the sidelines, so far declining to back either side. Napoleon's miraculous feat of organization meant he now had more than 200,000 troops in Germany.
Jeez.
And the Emperor's personal magnetism was undimmed. The morale of his army was high.
I can't believe that.
The Russians, on the other hand, lost their iconic commander, Field Marshal Kutuzov, to pneumonia on the 28th of April.
Jeez.
His role was taken over by General Wittgenstein. Russian troops were exhausted and far from home. Their army weakened by the need to contain French garrisons across Poland and Germany. Prussia and Sweden had yet to fully mobilize their strength, and Allied forces barely mustered 100,000 men.
Oof. Man.
They were now heavily outnumbered by Napoleon.
They need Austria.
And the French Emperor decided to strike quickly. He ordered Marshal Davout to Hamburg with 35,000 men to secure his northern flank. He would march against the Russian and Prussian forces converging on Leipzig to force a decisive battle. Victory would make Austria think twice about joining the Allies. Allow him to rescue the 90,000 men trapped in garrisons across Germany and Poland, and re-establish his dominance over Europe.
Alright. If the art of war was only the art of not taking risks, glory would belong to Metacritics. Metacritics. We need a full triumphant. I don't know if you're gonna get that. I don't know.
As Napoleon advanced on Leipzig,
the
Allies
risky
faced
moves.
a predicament. To risk battle against Napoleon's larger army, or give up Germany without a fight, a potentially devastating blow to Allied morale and any chance of winning Austria over to their cause.
Yeah, Germany.
Allied headquarters made the bold decision to attack. They knew most of Napoleon's army was made up of raw conscripts, but their own troops were better trained and had a great superiority in cavalry and artillery.
It's also true.
The Allies agreed that as Napoleon crossed the Saale River, they would hit his right flank before he could concentrate the full mass of his forces.
Okay.
The two armies were on a collision course. But Napoleon's shortage of cavalry meant he lacked information about Allied movement. On the 1st of May, Marshal Bessières, commanding the cavalry in Murat's absence, was carrying out reconnaissance himself when he was hit by a cannonball. Killed instantly.
Oh my god, damn!
Bessières was the second of Napoleon's marshals to be killed in action, and like Lannes, an old comrade and trusted friend.
Damn. Yeah, he's losing people.
The Allies were able to surprise Napoleon, falling on Marshal Ney's 3rd Corps near Lutzen. Ney's troops had to cling on in the face of a Russian and Prussian onslaught, while Napoleon rapidly redirected his other corps to fall on the enemy's flanks. At one stage, Napoleon had to personally help rally routing troops as they broke in the face of determined Prussian
Yeah, because they're just kids.
But on the whole, his young conscripts fought with courage. And despite hours of savage fighting, Wittgenstein could not exploit his early advantage. As French reinforcements arrived, the battle turned against him.
Welp.
Towards dusk, the Allies were forced to break off the engagement, though they'd inflicted around 22,000 casualties.
Oh shoot.
Losing just half as many men.
He cannot
General
do
von
that.
Scharnhorst, mortally wounded, was among them.
Can't lose that many.
Crucially, Napoleon's lack of cavalry meant he was unable to pursue the enemy.
That's right.
Retreated in good order. Expecting the Prussians to fall back on Berlin, Napoleon sent Marshal Ney in pursuit, while he continued east. But the Allied army stayed together, withdrawing to a defensive position at Bautzen, deliberately close to the Austrian border, hoping to entice Schwarzenberg to intervene,
come here,
and daring Napoleon to violate Austrian neutrality. Neither happened.
Oh.
Instead, Napoleon ordered Ney to swing south to fall on the Allies' northern flank, while he launched a frontal assault to pin them in place.
Okay.
The battle lasted 2 days, as French infantry struggled forward against the Prussian and Russian lines. But a misunderstanding over Ney's orders caused a delay that allowed the Allies to narrowly escape Napoleon's trap.
The delay always gets
Once more, the Allies fought with great determination and inflicted many more losses than they suffered.
Oof, yeah. Damn!
There were more casualties during the pursuit,
Only
including the next day General Duroc, Grand Marshal of the Palace, responsible for Napoleon's personal arrangements, and his closest surviving friend.
Wow.
Riding with Napoleon's staff, a freak cannon shot ricocheted off a tree and disemboweled him.
That is just terrible
His slow,
luck.
painful death deeply upset Napoleon.
Ugh.
The Emperor continued his pursuit to Breslau, once again hindered by his lack of experienced cavalry. while Oudinot was sent north to take Berlin, but was held at Lachau by von Bülow's Prussian corps.
Von Bülow.
On the 2nd of June, with both sides strained to breaking point, neutral Austria proposed a ceasefire, which, to the surprise of many, Napoleon accepted.
Oh, wow. My eagles are again victorious, but my star is setting. Yep.
The armistice of Plaswitz would last more than 2 months, a period of intense diplomacy and military mobilization by both sides.
So not really any
wanted
peace.
time to rebuild his cavalry, a shortage of which had allowed the Allies to escape twice. But he also wanted to keep Austria on side, which he feared might join the Allies with 200,000 troops.
Ooh.
Even though Emperor Francis I was now his father-in-law, since Napoleon's marriage to his daughter, Marie-Louise, in 1810.
That's crazy. That's a weird family.
Austrian Foreign Minister Clemens von Metternich, who'd become one of 19th century Europe's most influential statesmen, now took center stage. Metternich wanted peace and to see Austria restored as a great European power, which meant Napoleon contained, but not crushed, which would hand too much power to Russia. In June, he travelled to Dresden to ask Napoleon to make concessions, while promising the Allies that if he did not, Austria would join them.
Okay.
But Napoleon dismissed Metternich's terms out of hand.
Of course.
He would not return the Illyrian provinces to Austria, agree to the repartition of Poland, or the breakup of the Confederation of the Rhine. All were out of the question. Napoleon famously threw his hat to the ground in fury.
Damn.
Peace and war lie in your Majesty's hands, Metternich is said to have warned him. Today you can still make peace. Tomorrow it may be too late.
Maybe too late.
But Napoleon preferred war to what he called a humiliating peace.
Expect a defeat wherever the Emperor attacks in person. Attack and defeat his legions whenever you can. General Moray to the Emperor of Alexandria. Moray?
On the 12th of August 1813, Austria joined the 6th Coalition and declared war on France.
You're screwed.
The Allies now had a numerical advantage of 3-2.
Oof.
And a new strategy, the Trachenberg Plan.
The Trachenberg.
Recognizing Napoleon's genius, the Allies would avoid battle with the Emperor and instead target his marshals, threaten his flanks, and wear down French forces, until it was time to close in for the kill.
Wow. Don't
Over
fight
the next
Napoleon.
few months,
Fight
the coalition would also
goons.
receive massive material support from Britain, including £8 million in silver and gold coin, 200 cannon with transport, 120,000 firearms, 18 million rounds of ammunition, 23,000 barrels of gunpowder, 30,000 swords and sabres, 150,000 uniforms, 175,000 pairs of boots, 1.5 million pounds of beef, biscuit and flour, and 28,000 gallons of rum and brandy.
Hell yeah,
the
brother.
The total value of British aid to the coalition in 1813 was £11.3 million.
Oh my god.
Today, worth around $500 million.
Holy shit.
Napoleon, meanwhile, had turned Dresden into a major supply depot.
Yeah, you could tell for now, Britain's going all out. They know this is the end. They know that Napoleon will fail, and they know that this is all they got.
Strengthened his cavalry arm, though it remained a pale shadow of its glorious past.
Making everyone stronger.
Murat returned to lead it.
Oh, there's
his
Murat.
secret approach to the Allies having been rebuffed.
He's like, I
but
want
when
my
news
kingdom.
arrived of King Joseph's disastrous defeat to Wellington's Anglo-Spanish-Portuguese army at the Battle of Victoria, Napoleon had to send Marshal Soult, one of his best commanders, to salvage the situation.
We'll see what happens at that.
On the 15th of August, Napoleon left Dresden and advanced against what he considered the most urgent threat: the joint Prussian-Russian army of Silesia, commanded by General Gebhard von Blücher, soon to win the nickname Marshal Vorwärts, Marshal Forwards, for his aggressive leadership.
Forwards.
But Blücher followed the new plan and retreated when he learned of Napoleon's advance.
Like, nope.
Napoleon then received news from Marshal Saint-Cyr, holding Dresden with 20,000 men, that Schwarzenberg's gigantic army of Bohemia was approaching.
There he comes.
The city and its supplies were in danger. Napoleon left Marshal MacDonald to keep an eye on Blücher and raced back to Dresden, sending Van Damme's First Corps to threaten Schwarzenberg's communications.
He's in a retreat.
By the time the Allied assault began, enough reinforcements had arrived to fight off the attack. The next day, despite being heavily outnumbered, Napoleon ordered a counterattack. Struggling through mud and heavy rain, Marshal Murat's advance, supported by Victor's Second Corps, broke the Allied left flank and took 13,000 prisoners.
Damn!
The Allies had suffered a disastrous defeat because they'd ignored their own rule.
Right.
Don't take on Napoleon in battle.
Don't fight him.
But news soon arrived that turned the situation on its head. Marshal Oudinot had resumed his advance on Berlin with 66,000 men. But in 3 days of heavy combat around Grossbeeren, he was defeated by Bernadotte's Army of the North. Some of the most savage fighting was between Napoleon's Saxon allies and von Bülow's Prussians, two German states that for now remained on opposing sides.
That's crazy, though.
3 days later, at the Katzbach River, Blücher inflicted a crushing defeat on Marshal MacDonald, driving some French troops into the river itself. MacDonald lost 30,000 men, 3 Eagles and 100 guns, for Blücher's 22,000 casualties.
Damn! This is not good.
3 days after Napoleon's victory at Dresden, as Van Damme's corps pursued the Allies, it became trapped in wooded valleys around Kulm and was overrun. General Van Damme himself was dragged from his horse by Cossacks, as he and 10,000 of his men were made prisoner.
Oh, wow.
Napoleon sent Ney to take over from Oudinot, who engaged Bülow's Prussian corps at Dennewitz.
This is falling apart real fast.
The Prussians, fighting to save Berlin, held their own.
They're determined.
Until Russian and Swedish reinforcements arrived to turn the battle decisively in the Allies' favor. Ney's retreat became a rout, with the loss of another 22,000 men. Napoleon's brilliant victory at Dresden had been completely overturned in just 10 days.
10 days, damn.
The Allied plan was working.
It was.
Napoleon became increasingly frustrated as Allied armies withdrew wherever he advanced. And advanced wherever he was not. His teenage conscripts were exhausted by constant marching and famished as Saxony had been stripped bare of supplies. Thousands fell sick, thousands more deserted. Russian and Prussian light troops were now operating behind Napoleon's army, harassing his communications with France.
Cossacks.
Many of Napoleon's marshals advised him to pull back to the River Rhine.
The Rhine.
But Napoleon wasn't giving up Germany without a fight.
He's so stubborn. There will eventually eventually be a great battle at Lisbon. Inevitably.
By October 1813, Napoleon faced 1/3 Allied troops in Germany, converging on him from 3 directions.
3 sides, yeah.
900 miles away, Field Marshal Wellington was crossing the Bidassoa River into France. The first enemy army on French soil in nearly 20 years.
Damn.
While the Kingdom of Bavaria, a French ally since the days of Austerlitz, had secretly agreed to switch sides and would declare war on France on the 14th of October.
Wow, that's a huge portion of Germany, too.
Napoleon planned to defend the line of the River Elbe. But the arrival of General Bennigsen's reserve Russian army freed up Blücher, who suddenly marched to join forces with Bernadotte and forced his way across the Elbe at Wartenberg.
Yeah, he's just gonna go.
Napoleon went north with 150,000 men, seeking the decisive battle that would change his fortunes.
Nope.
But once more, Blücher narrowly escaped him.
Nope.
Then came news from Murat, who'd been left with 67,000 men to cover Schwarzenberg. The enemy had bypassed Dresden and was heading for Leipzig. If the city fell, Napoleon would be cut off from France.
Oof.
Once more, he was advised to fall back to the Rhine. But instead,
everyone keeps telling
Napoleon ordered all his forces to concentrate at Leipzig.
Huge gamble.
He would risk everything in one great battle to decide the fate of his empire and the fate of Europe. Thank you.
That's crazy. Anyway, like, it's just, oh man, yeah, it's not going good for Napoleon. He's taking a lot more L's than W's, and I think that whole plan is so brilliant. Just don't fight Napoleon. Fight his other guys. Now, I'm not going to say his other marshals are bad. I'm just saying they're not as good as Napoleon in combat. And it's very clear to see there's many examples of them not doing so well, but Napoleon could easily beat them, but they just run away and retreat, which is so funny. Anyway, hopefully you guys liked it. Comment and subscribe. See ya!